the
You've
show.
been waiting for a day like this. Can you believe that we are back live, all new?
The time has come.
It's been 2 weeks.
I know.
It's crazy.
It's been a long
2
time.
weeks. So I match, right? Look at this. We match.
Fabulous.
I know. So these
Love it.
are crazy. Is that you with the happy faces?
I don't know why I can't find it. It's
Were you not on
here.
the happy
Oh my God,
faces?
no, why is it on this? Let's see, watch.
Watch what's going on here.
Yeah.
Who are all these people? Hello, you guys. Check out my cool 80s wrapped glasses. I love them. Look at hers. Look at these things. No sides, so you don't get that annoying
Pain behind your ears.
No, you have the sunburn.
Oh my God, yes.
The glass sunburn. The kind where the guys wear it on the back of their head and they have that glass sunburn. It's crazy.
All right, fine.
What are you doing?
Finally, we are pulled up on both.
I love it. Anyways, these things rock. And
I
they
love them.
stay
Look
on
at-
so well.
Look at, they're staying on my face.
They stay on so well. Look at that.
You could be at the beach,
You could be rocking it.
and the glasses are staying on.
And they're staying on.
Love that.
Isn't that the craziest thing? They're called wrap glasses. They're from the 80s and they're hard rock. Check it out. See
Hi,
them?
Mom.
See those? Hi, Mom. See those? Aren't those crazy? I love it. I'm completely blind right now because if you wear glasses, they don't exactly work.
I'm
I'm
loving
going to
them.
put them on over it.
Yeah. I can see
And
everything.
you know what? I got to show you guys. So I'm going to do this real quick. It's because they literally look like regular sunglasses on the inside. Isn't that crazy? And they roll up. So they're like slap bracelets. You remember slap
But
bracelets?
like, look at how easy that they are to put on. Okay, ready? Boom. Look at
Boom.
that.
We're ready to go.
Isn't that just
Isn't
amazing?
that crazy? I love it.
I know David is probably cracking up at me right now because he knows I love things like this, but like,
Do you
Look at
remember the
that.
slap bracelets?
yeah, that dude.
That's kind of
Look
what
at
these are.
you get hot. You want to take them off? No problemo.
Yeah, you just put them around your wrist.
My
That's exactly
sunglasses
how
are
you
on
did it.
my wrist.
You do it. Sunglasses on the wrist.
I'm obsessed, dude. We need to bring these back. Petition to bring them
Actually,
back this year.
you could just wear them on your wrist.
2024 is the year
It is the year.
for these.
For these,
right
I'm
here.
telling you. These are fantastic. So they are the wedge. They're called the wedge.
The wedge. Well,
And they're hard rock with an edge. So they were probably a giveaway.
David said we'll be driving in a Hummer in no time.
Driving in a Hummer. Too much gas mileage.
Oh my gosh, I know,
Too much
right?
gas. So, anyways, I'm so happy that we're back.
Happy New Year, everybody!
Yes, Happy New Year. 2024. It still amazes me that it's 2024.
This is the week where I'm going to write 2023 for the next 6
Well,
days.
of course it is. And, well, the next 6 months.
Right?
So, I still write 1998. Because to me, being 28 was perfect.
Felt.
You know, so 1998, right? So, I'm going to take these off because I am completely blind without my glasses.
I'm taking them.
And I'm going to go over here and get my glasses.
I'm so happy
So,
to be back.
what do you have for us?
Okay, so
Well, what are we going to talk about? Let's tell them what we're talking about tonight.
today I got a little bit of some historical facts about New Year's.
Uh-huh.
David actually asked me this question while I was writing my facts down today, and it got me on this whole tangent of some back history of New Year's when and how other places really celebrate New Year's.
So your shirt is reminding me of something. GTL, Gym, Tan, Laundry. Our resolutions.
Yes.
We're going to be talking about resolutions and how we all break them.
Also got a little bit of those as well.
Yes, because gym is the number one resolution everybody makes.
Literally.
And she gave me some stats about the gym resolution that was kind of... I actually thought it wouldn't last as long as it does, but... What were your facts on those?
So, 44% of memberships that are going to happen at a gym are going to happen in January. But out of that 44%, only 25% of people make it until April. And then after April, 45% of people who signed up drop off by November.
By November?
By
So
November.
they actually last almost a year.
They do, but also keep in mind that the people that are in that secondary category are people that signed up and still haven't went to the gym. These are people who've never went. They're just canceling out their memberships.
So they signed up in with the intent to go to the gym.
Exactly. We call them the drop-off wagon.
The drop-off wagon.
They sign up, they go for the first 3 to 4 weeks, and then after that they drop off and keep their membership, and then they finally realize, I've been spending money on this for weeks, I should probably cancel it, and then they do.
So the reason she's telling us this right now is because she is a gym rat.
Yes.
And she goes to the gym all the time. She's a power lifter. And she's worked at gyms for years.
Yep.
So she sees this firsthand, right?
And, crazy that you are bringing this up right now because I went to the gym yesterday on the 1st, early, 6 o'clock in the morning, and there was no one there. No one. Like, the gym was empty. I was, like, quite shocked.
Probably happy, too.
Yeah, a little bit.
So, I have no resolution. My resolutions today are, who?
Maria.
Hey, Maria.
She's on Instagram.
She's on Instagram. I love it. Thank you for jumping on Instagram. And we've got quite a few people on Facebook, too, I see. So, yeah, look.
You can read all those here, too.
Oh, yeah, I guess I can. Hi, Will. Hi, Bill. How are you doing? Geraldine, we have. Who else do we have in here? There's Steve.
Hi, Steve.
He popped on. So we were talking about resolutions, and my resolution this year is not to have a resolution this year.
Period.
Because I do goals. That's how I do my resolution, right? I set short-term and long-term goals.
Goals are a little bit more achievable than resolutions because resolutions has this stigma against it that, like, if you don't do them, you're automatically going to fail, and then the rest of the year is trash.
Yeah, and I think resolutions are beginning to have a negative connotation to them.
100%.
So by setting goals, short-term goals and long-term goals, I think it's a little bit more achievable in your mind, because a resolution to me has that resolution.
And did you know that 44% of Americans actually have and written down their resolutions, and 13% of them are actually fitness related?
Well, maybe we shouldn't. Maybe our resolution should be not to write down our resolutions.
Okay.
How about we change the word to goals?
Yeah.
What is our goal, our short-term goal? Because what we're going to be talking about today, based on resolutions and based on the fact that it is a new year, and it is the year of resale and vintage. And I don't say that because I own a vintage store. I say that because if you watch the news, if you read any articles about the fashion forward in 2024, home goods fashion 2024, it all piles back to resale.
100%.
And so it's starting to get this great boom that I've been hoping for a long time.
It's like, I feel like certain stores are going a little bit backwards because, for example, like TJ Maxx, they have like the La Crusette heart-shaped canter that's coming out. And they're releasing like a whole line that's like, that looks just like the vintage, but is new. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're going backwards. Like, instead of just releasing fast fashion and fast home goods, then I think that you should go back to what you said earlier. Well, not on the show. Earlier, Jason was telling me how in Germany, if they have old stock on the floor, they wait until that is sold before releasing
as much as possible, or they move it to other stores. They actually take the time to move it to other stores. I was talking to somebody from Germany today. One of the things that blow my mind. Okay, one of the things we got to take into consideration when we do our cast iron and stuff like that, buying something new that's cast iron, if you're going to pay the money, I don't know if TJ Maxx is the place to get it. Maybe somewhere that specializes in cookware or cast iron. And who knows, maybe TJ Maxx is the place to get it. But because of our ovens today are a lot stronger, hopefully, they draw a lot more heat. That maybe old cast iron, if you're running into a lot of chips and stuff like that, you have to replace it. But buy quality, because that stuff will last your kids, your next kids, your next kids, your next kids. When it comes to clothing, when it comes to things that you don't need, think secondhand. If it doesn't go in your body, if it's not chemical on your body, the only new things in my mind you should buy, underwear. Otherwise, there is absolutely no reason that when you're done with that sweater and you are done wearing it for good, let's not throw it away.
Right.
Because only 1%, and this astounded you earlier, so I did some research, 1% of all clothing purchased, only 1% of that clothing ends up in a resale store or a secondhand goods store, or even a donation. So that means 99% of everything we've bought in our lifetime ends up in the ground.
That's crazy, David. Isn't that crazy?
And it stunned me. That's for fashion. That's for clothing. It stunned me because That's a lot of clothes, and a lot of clothes are biodegradable. Some of them using natural materials, but you've got buttons, you've got zippers, you've got, you know, if it's a bra, you got plastic lining. If it's a skirt, you could have plastic in it.
And you know, I'm gonna say this
Shoes.
like wholeheartedly when it comes to material that's biodegradable, and this is coming from someone who's a vegetarian for like 15 years. Vegan leather is literally trash. It's just plastic, and it's not biodegradable compared to actual leather.
Where actual leather is biodegradable because it is part of a living.
And I was actually trying to explain that to a customer earlier, and she's like, well, I'm vegan and I don't wear leather. And I said, I totally understand and I get it 100%. I'm a vegetarian, explained to her. And I said, but now think about it. This leather jacket has literally been around for 50 years. It's been, you know,
it's been used, its life. And it still works.
Exactly.
It's still usable. It's still wearable. It's
going to keep you warm. Right. It covers you on all sides. You know?
Absolutely. So when we're talking about, hey, Mike. Yes. Always could use sleeve type bubble wrap. Thank you so much. And thank you for bringing them in. See, that's the type of thing we're talking about.
Yeah.
if you are receiving a lot of stuff like bubble wrap, like peanuts, and that's peanuts. When you get peanuts, I'm talking about your packing peanuts. That's oil.
Yes.
That's not biodegradable at all. Plastic, not so much. So, you know, that type of thing, we need to learn to reuse those, hand them to stores. Trust me, stores like this, vintage antique stores, mom and pop stores, micro store, micro businesses, stuff like that. We can't afford sometimes to buy bags or boxes that have our logo on them that are nice and neat. We would love to, but we'd be out of business in no time. So by reusing those plastic grocery bags, reusing the bubble wrap bags, that's what we need to do. Honestly, as a world.
Honestly.
You know, I would love to buy reusable canvas bags. But how much are they?
Very expensive.
They are, aren't they?
Like I wanted to place an, oh wow, that was crazy. We just got a giant thumbs up. That's cool. Did you see that?
Oh yeah, I wonder who did that. That's interesting. I've not seen that before. I love it. Bring us more.
Yeah, remember that happened like a couple months ago and I was like, that was weird. Do it again.
Oh yeah. Somebody will have to tell us how they do that.
But yes, so it was.
Hi, Chris.
So they're very expensive, and whether that be the labor that's being used to make the bags, or whether that's the materials that they use to make the bags.
You know, throw out a price. 30 of them for how much? $1,000?
I got quoted for like $375
for
just 30 canvas bags.
So $375 for 30 canvas bags. We get 30 people in here a day. Okay, we get 30 possible sales a day. If I gave that canvas bag out, I'm spending $360 a day. That means no new product. No. That means I can't, no more hours.
Right.
Because, so that is why when you are shopping at a small mom and pop store or just a small business, period, and smaller, bring your own canvas bag. Or ask them, do you want some plastic bags? Because we'll bring them in so that way you can reuse them and they can just spend a life of being moved around.
Yep.
You know? So, and I'm not building this up to bring us bags, but bring us bags if you want.
Right.
So what are some of your statistics? Because we're going to talk about how you can reuse some of these things. I have some examples here, and we're going to talk about those, and then we might show you some cool stuff. We've got our section back here that is all for, you know, that night that you sit home and drink. And as you can see, I have these fluffy things, which are dusters that I'm adding to my display because it gives texture and a form. So
honestly,
it adds to it, and I got a kiss in it. So why not, right? They're feather dusters from the turn of the century.
Next time your nieces and nephews come over, I'll give them an excuse to start cleaning.
Exactly. I'm sorry, turn of last century, I should say. Since we're losing people. Come back.
And as if NYE couldn't get far enough, we also have noisemakers galore. If that is your type of thing.
Do you know we had a customer in here on Saturday? I got to tell you, best use of noisemakers I can think of. She actually bought one that was similar to this one.
Okay.
That was similar to this one. See the noisemakers? And I know that we're on the second, but listen to that. Loud, right? So I said, oh, you're getting noisemakers for New Year's Eve. And she goes, oh, no. She goes, I'm a school teacher. This is for when I want the kids to sit down.
Boom. At least you ain't got to yell.
What a great way to do that.
Because I'm not yelling.
Because that noise would stop those kids in their tracks going, what is that?
What is that? Right.
You know?
Because it's loud and scary. Yeah. I like those ones and that clown bell.
All right, so what do you got?
Alrighty, so I'll do my stats first.
Okay.
So here in America, we usually have a couple of smaller myths or traditions that. Heck yeah, I'm putting my glasses on too.
They don't work here. Maybe I'll do it this way.
Put my glasses on too. All right, bang. So.
There.
Europeans, they eat cabbage or greens in general.
Works for me.
To bring in wealth, prosperity, and good health.
Mm-hmm.
In Southern America, they eat black-eyed peas by the spoonful.
Can I just tell you, black-eyed peas are my favorite food in the whole world. I mix them with mashed potatoes, and I could eat them for months.
If you would have ate some spoonfuls of those on New Year's, it would be bringing you some good luck. And in Asia, they eat dumplings, noodles, and rice cakes. And they also make crazy elaborate dishes that feature ingredients that symbolize wealth, health, and good fortune. And honestly, this is super important. Can't believe we almost forgot about this. The first Rose Bowl game ever was played in Pasadena, California, January 1st, 1902.
At the Rose Bowl?
Yep.
Bill, you scared my cat with that noisemaker.
I
love it, yes. You want to terrorize cats, get a noisemaker.
Buddhist monks there presented gifts. They don't give gifts. Everyone gives them the gifts.
Only on New Year's?
Only on New Year's.
Oh.
Hindus make obligations to God. Japanese, they visit their shrines and their deities and to Buddhist temples. And in China, they often make offerings to their God and or ancestors.
Cool. And what about the grapes?
Oh, yes, the grapes. That one's my favorite. You eat one grape for every month that you plan on trying to conquer through the year. So you eat 12.
Hopefully you're conquering all the
12,
grapes.
right? So you eat 12 grapes, and you have to do that within 1 minute, and every time you do that, you have to say the month that you're trying to conquer. Again, all within 60 seconds, and that actually dates back to two places, Mexico and Italy.
Mexico, Colombia, all the different Latino countries.
Yep.
And then Italy as well, yes, because it's very similar.
And there's also, this is my two favorite, is that half of the world truly believes that you're not supposed to clean before, on, or the day after New Year's. Mm-hmm. That's just because...
Not a problem here.
But me, on the other hand, I feel like that's a really good opportunity to really declutter and get rid of all the things that have been sitting through the whole year and to really start the New Year's off fresh. But again, for some people, that could be considered bad luck. But on the other half of the world, it's considered great luck, and it's supposed to bring in wealth and prosperity into your home. But again, other people think that doing that is going to wash away everything.
Nothing washes away everything.
Well, they think that like washing
clothes
and stuff
like that. Don't you all wish that having some of these will wash away the things that we don't want to deal with? One of the cool things I have to say is we're entering into the time here in Michigan, and I know it's different in the West Coast. But did somebody saying something?
They're just asking a couple questions.
Do you have Halloween themed? Right now I am sold out of the Halloween themed ones, but we do look for them and we do carry them, so keep checking.
Fish on New Year's is also one as well.
It is actually, yeah.
And that
I have fish on New Year's.
Yep.
So the good thing is every piece of food you have mentioned about good luck, I have eaten in the past 3 days, as you can tell. So therefore, it should be good because we have some cool things coming. But I was going to say something else and I forgot what it was. Oh well, go on.
David,
the 80s were good to me.
David, before I got to work, asked me a very good question, and it put me on this whole tangent to think about it. David asked me, what did they do on the very first New Year's ever? And I kind of sat there for myself and thought about it. So I found out that in the early medieval times, most of Christian Europe regarded March 25th, the Feast of Anticipation, and as the beginning, and as New Year's is though thought to be on the 1st, it was also thought on December 25th in Anglo-Saxon England that it was also going to be followed as March 25th. William the Conqueror decreed that the year begins January 1st, but England later joined the rest of the Christendom and adopted March 25th as being the start of the new year. The
So it was in March to begin with?
Yeah, and they were going back and forth for a little bit about it, and the Gregorian calendar, adopted in 1582 by the Roman Catholic Church, restored January 1st as the official New Year's Day, but most of Europe literally looked at them and said, psh. Scotland in 1660, Germany and Denmark in the 1700s, England in 1752, and Russia in 1918 finally all got on the same page and said January 1st is the new year.
Because Chinese New Year is a completely different time.
100%. They actually celebrate it twice throughout the year.
Yeah, twice throughout the year. So, I changed into this hat because we're going to talk about new versus old. We're going to talk about, we're going to show some different ways that you can utilize, like repurpose.
Yep.
We're going to show you. Now, let me tell you, the number one main thing that you can do this year to reduce our footprint that we leave for the next generation is shop vintage, shop resale, shop thrift, shop secondhand. Any way you look at it, because any way you look at it, it's secondhand. Whether it's antique and 1,000 years old, whether it's vintage and 20 years old, whether it's
whether your Aunt Sandy gave it to your Grandma Denise and now you have it, that's secondhand.
That's secondhand. Whether I bought it today, looked at it in my hands, and handed it to you, that's secondhand.
Secondhand, literally.
Okay, so that is one way that we're going to reduce our footprint, right? Another way is new versus old.
100%.
Okay, so, and new versus old, as you see this hat, this is a circus hat. It's the big top. It says, what does it say?
The greatest show on earth.
It says the greatest show on earth, right? So this hat is black and white, right? And this hat has been around forever because we don't have circuses anymore.
Nope.
Right? So I have this hat, which is a brand new hat by Psycho Bunny, right?
Cute.
So the hat on me looks good, right? It looks good on my head.
Yeah.
Right? You can see the logo, you can see everything. This hat cost me nothing. Bought it at a garage sale, right? Mm-hmm. This is a brand new hat. This is Psycho Bunny, a brand new hat, right? This hat cost a lot more money. It was brand new. It looks the same on my head, doesn't it? Except for the label's different.
I like it.
I like it too, but this is what I'm talking about. There, you buy one thing, great. You don't need 10 different black hats, brand new, because 9 times out of 10 you're going to have one of those black hats that you like, 2 of those black hats that you like, and then the rest of them are going to go to the wayside. Okay?
No one told me that I was $4.
Well, I think you're a little bit more than that.
I know.
So when you are looking at buying something new, like a Psycho Bunny hat, which I like Psycho Bunny, and think about how often you're going to wear that hat. Think about how often you're going to wear that you're going to want to wear that same hat over and over again.
I ask myself 3 questions anytime I'm going to buy something brand new, which is, how am I going to feel about this purchase tomorrow? Is it going to impact my life positively in the next 3 weeks? So that means in 3 weeks from now, am I still going to feel positive about the purchase that I just made?
Right.
And the third one is in 50 years, is it going to be sitting in a landfill, or is someone going to get use out of this item?
Right.
And then if I can answer those 3 questions, and if any one of them is no, then I just try to find a second hand.
So, perfect. And what I'm saying is, if you need 5 or 6 hats, maybe you buy one new one, your Psycho Bunny hat, and then you find 10 or 15 other hats at a vintage store, at a antique store, at something like that. Can you just see?
Yes.
Oh, never mind. You don't have to. I just read it through. So that way, this one hat that you're wearing, the Psycho Bunny hat you wear it at special occasions, or you wear it all the time. Mm-hmm. But the other hats you don't have to worry about because you spent $1 to $15 on this hat.
100%.
That you are going to wear every now and then, and maybe hand down to your nephew, your son, your niece, or whatever. And you're not buying 10 of the Psycho Bunny hat, and your kids don't want it because it's got a Psycho Bunny on it.
Right.
Your so-and-so don't want it because of this reason or that reason, and then they end up in the trash. That sounds like somebody called us from a fax machine. That's so weird. That's so weird.
Please tell me you guys heard that. That was very scary and weird.
So that's what I'm saying. Be conscious, and we're moving into a time when buying secondhand is going to be the thing to do.
And it's like, see, it's like good and it's bad, because I remember growing up my entire life, and this is not a negative stigma. This is just, unfortunately, the stigma that I was told growing up, thinking about secondhand, not necessarily vintage and antique, just secondhand in itself. Secondhand is for people who are low income.
Yep.
Secondhand is for people who might not have better resources.
Yep.
And that means, like, you might not have a car to drive to the mall or to a big box store, but there's a thrift store in almost every neighborhood.
Right.
So, you know, you can achieve, you know, your destination by going there. Another thing is that when you find things that are secondhand, people think automatically that they smell, that they have holes in it, that
That's
it's
not
somewhat
always
broken.
true.
And 9 times out of 10, I'm going to be completely honest with you, that's not always true.
No.
And that's like the negative part of it. But then the positive is that so many things are within a social norm now. Like, for example, my friends and I, we don't ever buy new furniture. We just trade furniture. And every 6 months, someone will be like, hey, that couch looks familiar. And I'm like, yeah, that's just because it's Justin's and we traded couches.
So, building on top of that, one of the things that is, I told you that 1% of all clothes purchased end up being resale, reused, or whatever, and 99% end up thrown away. Let's talk Home Goods. Home Goods doesn't even make a full percent.
No, literally.
This is what's said. Okay, Home Goods meaning your table, your coffee tables, your furniture, your lamps, your I'm trying to see what's in your dishes up here, anything that you see in the background, the cookie jars and stuff. That's all Home Goods, and only 0.5%. It was like 0.4. It was some stupid number, under 1%, that end up being used for resale, for vintage, for antique, stuff like that. And that is why we have antiques, right? Because things don't last. That is why we have vintage, because things don't last. And things sometimes don't last, and you do have to get rid of them, but there are ways of using them,
and they also
if possible.
They also do last exceptionally a lot longer than something that's like more modern. And I think you'll probably hear me say that the most to our customers is that, like, I'm young, but I truly wish that certain things would be that we could just go back a little bit in time, because they were built to last, you know?
Well, and I'm going to tell you that when it comes to Home Goods and it comes to fashion, middle class, the lower middle class, and upper middle class are the culprits. The rich don't do it, and the poor don't do it. And I'm going to tell you that the poor don't do it because they don't know. It's like being in 1950. You don't know if you're going to be able to get another one. So you fix it, you do whatever you can to do it. The rich don't do it because they're rich and they want to stay that way, so they're not rebuying all this shit.
And then, honestly,
here's my language.
That's so funny that you say that, because that's very true. And I make this joke with David, and I always call us poor people. And I was like, us poor people, we never really see the difference in trends because we can't afford it anyway, so we don't keep up with them, And like by that I mean like all the newest ins and outs of 2024 of like what's in fashion, what's not in fashion.
Good, Geraldine, I love to hear that, because it is very important to maintain this world for the next generations that are coming out. So let's talk fashion. So what do you got there?
I have a bow, and this is actually my major prediction of the top trend in 2024. Don't shoot the messenger, but I already see it coming. People are putting bows on everything and anything. And if you look up one picture of a female celebrity or any celebrity who has long hair, they're wearing a bow in some way.
So, the bows, now you can make your own bow, of course, which is always fun. And, but this bow right here is meant to, the one that she's holding in her hand, which would be clearly beautiful, turn around, which would be clearly beautiful back here, as you can see. Here, let me move this. As you can see, right? It gives that bobby sock look. It gives that teenage look. I have it sitting behind your clip.
Cute.
So it gives that teenage fun bobby sock look, right? So this is what she's talking about. It's sitting in your clip.
Oh, it's sitting there. Nice.
Yeah, in your clip. Nice. So this is what she's talking about, is using something like this. So you think, okay, well, what if I can't find a bow? This is not a bow for your hair. This was a bow that was meant to go here on a woman.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah, because look, it ties around the neck.
But that's like the look right now, is that like, even if, I'm not joking, even if you like cut this off
Yep.
and just tied this in your hair, this is like what's
Oh yeah, just string
Just
bows
the string
and stuff
bow,
like that.
yes.
So a bow in the hair, and then you said pleated skirts.
Pleated skirts. And I don't want to say like schoolgirl, but I would say school uniform is really like the trending 2024 trends. Again, please, if you're cringing, don't shoot the messenger. This is just my predictions as a
Okay,
24-year-old.
so whether you're cringing or not, it's the truth.
No.
And so this is like something like this, which is a pleated skirt, and it's cute.
Oh, thank you, Danica. I'm
What?
so glad you are watching right now. Yes, I could not think of it if it was boudoir, if that was the term, or croquette, but that is the term. Thank you so much.
Okay.
I'm like hating it and loving it. It's like,
I think it depends on how it looks and who wears it.
I feel that it just depends on really who wears it. It's
Right.
not for everybody.
But our point, what we're telling you, is you're going to find more cool bows, more unique bows that you can wear in your hair or anywhere on your body that in a vintage and antique store than you are at, I don't even know a fashion one for girls, an H&M.
Yeah, okay.
At H&M. Okay, so something like this, which is meant to be worn like an ascot around the neck, because in the 80s it was, let's get as choked up as we can here. But repurposing this to the hair. Boom. You have a look. And then something like that with your pleated skirt.
Boom, right? Your
underneath.
pleated skirts.
Yep.
Love it.
I'm still a big fan that if you're going to wear a mini skirt that's pleated, that you wear combat boots with
Oh,
it.
you have to. You have to.
So, something like this, and a pleated skirt like this that is a thick material like this. This is like carpet material.
And also,
Or not carpet, like a good material, and which is great for winter because you can wear a pair of leggings under it with the bow in the hair. Something like this is perfect, and you would spend a ton of money at this at a store. I mean, at a new store.
And it kind of killed me earlier today. We had a young group of some girls in, and she looked at her friend and said, "We can get this on Amazon for $10."
But it's going to be torn off. It's going to be torn.
My mind was just like, they want the vintage look, but can't process the vintage price.
It's not necessarily the vintage price as well. I see that we are dealing with a generation now. The Generation Z and the millennials are the ones who are pushing really hard for the resale. Okay, because they see that the planet is starting to suffer. And they have to live here a lot longer than I do and that a lot of us do. So they're like, let's do more, let's do more. Next generation down, same, but we're all products of our parents.
100%.
We're all products of how we're raised. And if you're not raised with that thought of that wearing somebody else's clothes is okay, because that's why we have washers, dryers, and dry cleaners, then it's never going to be okay.
And like, even now, I see that like streetwear's one of my favorite things, and I own a lot of it. And the big stigma within my community of streetwear is that people want to wear a shirt 1 or 2 times and resell it. Yeah. That's great. I get it, because you're keeping the shirt alive. You get to wear it, get your couple Instagram pictures with it, and then you're reselling it and giving somebody the opportunity to rewear it again. But why are you reselling the same shirt that you just worn for $135? It kills me. So it's like, I get it. But the younger generation just needs to like also understand that we can't have a clean secondhand society if everybody wants to charge $500 for a pair of jeans.
That's true.
When we get them secondhand,
Yeah, you're talking about the secondhand charging.
Like, and I'm not even talking about like vintage stores. I'm talking about like
something
resale
new.
with like person to person. Like if I was selling something vintage, like a jacket, and then you were a consumer, you were coming to buy it off my Depop or whatever, and I'm selling the jacket for $400. And you're buying it, you know what I'm saying? Like, So
some vintage can be expensive, but for the most part, vintage clothing is not going to be as expensive for the outcome. Because if you're going to pay $10 for a shirt on Amazon, then you're only going to expect to wear that $10 shirt maybe a handful of times before you start getting rips under the arms, at the seams, stuff like that. You buy a $15 for that same shirt for $15 at a resale or a vintage shop, and it's an original, the material's gonna be stronger. It's gonna last longer, even though it's had a full life before you bought it. But I'm gonna tell you, in most vintage and antique stores, we care about what we're selling to you. So we actually go through the process and spend the money to have it clean
100%.
and fixed, or if it's housewares.
So now I actually have a question.
What?
What do you do if you have vintage clothes?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm gonna use a blazer because that's like more practical, and you're worried about taking it to go get cleaned. How do you go about that?
Okay, so if you have a vintage one, your best bet, if you have any questions about how to care for vintage or where you could go, don't hesitate to put it in Google. You know, dry cleaners that with
Would you, okay, I guess I should say
that deal in vintage.
Would you say that it's suitable to bring vintage clothes to get dry cleaned, or do you
It
think
depends.
That that's like
No. Because the chemicals we use today, the machines we use today, can kill a vintage item in a second. Your best bet is to get some information, some knowledge from a vintage store. Maybe ask them where's the best place. Where do you get your stuff done from?
Sure, that makes a lot of sense.
Because vintage stores will have somebody under their wing who they get clothes like we do. We have somebody who fixes all of our vintage clothes because she's dealt with vintage clothes forever.
This is not an ad, but we love Frida.
Yeah, I know. And so, you know, don't hesitate to ask, to call up a local vintage store and say, hey, do you know where any good places to have something? I have this 1950s dress and I want to get it cleaned. Where do you get your stuff cleaned? I don't know what to do.
That'd be a travesty, you know, someone, you know, they buy a vintage jacket not really knowing how to clean it.
Well, the dry cleaner should be able to tell you.
No.
This is a vintage material.
We can't.
A good dry cleaner will, if they cannot process it with full confidence, they will tell you that they can't do it. Because like suede, patchwork suede cannot be pressed.
Right.
Because it will bleed into each other.
Yeah.
So, if you have somebody who, I can do this for you, be hesitant.
Be hesitant.
Be hesitant. Ask, ask. That's what our humans are. Ask each other.
For sure. And honestly, like I say this almost every show, I learn a lot from Jason and Steve. I text them all the time with questions. Like my blow mold stopped glowing and
Did you fix it?
Yeah, we found out the light bulb was just out. But I texted Jason and I said, what do I do? You know? And he texted me back and gave me some really great ideas to do first before I just freaked out about it. But show me your
it's now fixed.
It is fixed. Yes.
So, if you have blow molds, here's what it was. If you have blow molds that have a screwed in back, it's okay to unscrew those to change the light bulb. That's the way you're going to do it. But I understand your hesitation because it looks factory set.
Yeah, literally. And that's why I was like, what if I unscrew it and then can't get it back in?
Right. But if it has a light bulb, I don't care what it is, a lamp, a blow mold, this thing here that I'm about to show you, there should be a way to change that light bulb.
For sure.
So, how can we go about using things that break, right? How can we go about using old clothes that maybe have rips in them? And what? This?
Yeah.
I don't know. I was hoping we could plug it in for them to see.
Oh, you want to plug it back there?
I just don't know if you'll see
It'll be dark enough for me to show back there.
Okay, so she's going to plug something in, and this was something that had broken, right? And it's made out of plastic, so I didn't really want to throw it away because it would be in trash forever. And there are some things that you will have to throw away. But this was something that I didn't have to, I don't think. Can you hold it up for them to see?
Yep, I'm just trying to get the plug to stick in.
Okay. So I'm going to show you this lit up, and this is a lamp that I kind of married together with something else because, and you can see it way over there. You see the little face on it, and I'll bring it close up. You can see it. You people on Instagram, it's that little dot way over there. And as you can see, so it lights up beautifully. So this is something that was very, very cute, and I was very, very sad that it had been damaged, and some of you may have seen it before. But it's this little thing. Look at him. Isn't he cute?
Got a little cupie baby face.
A little cupie baby face. Isn't he cute? So this, of course, somebody put a too hot light bulb in there, and it destroyed the whole top, right? And so I was like, oh, man, that sucks, because it's the cutest face ever on him, right? So I was walking around, and this thing popped up. And this, right here, this little top you see here, was one of those ones, and it still has it on there. You can see it. Anyways, was one of those ones that you click onto the light bulb.
A shade?
A shade that clicks onto the light bulb on the ceiling. So it's for like a bathroom, right?
Oh, I get it now.
Yeah, for
I
like the
understand.
bathroom,
I
or it
understand.
covers the ceiling. And I set it on top of this thing one day, just as I was walking by. I just set it on top of it.
Boom.
And I walked back over and I looked at it and I thought, oh my God, that's so cute. He's got a hat on now.
Yep.
And you can't see the damage.
Yeah, he's cute.
And now it's become a whole new piece. And I have this item here that on top that had the little clips broke off on the inside that hold to the.
It was bright. The shade
yes.
like illuminates more
that
light.
holds to the light bulb broke off, so this would have gone into the trash. This would have gone into the trash because it had a melted top, because it was a complete circle, right, with a little piece of hair, because it was cute. So, but I turned him into a little cutie with a hat.
Yeah, we love him.
And reduced the price because he is a damaged item, but he does work beautifully, and nobody would ever know. And we reduced the price put as is because we want you to know exactly what it is you're getting. And you set it up on a shelf, and it's a great nightlight for a kid's room.
Yeah, it's
And
perfect,
nobody would
literally.
know any different other than the person who bought it from us.
It's bright enough to illuminate a room, but it's also not bright enough for you to just have it on like as ambiance light.
Right. And you want to put a low light bulb in it because that's what happened in the first place.
For sure.
But it is really cute. And this is the type of things that we want to make sure that we venture at or want to do before we actually have to toss it away.
100%.
Do you know what I mean? Because something like this can have a whole new life. And we have minimized our footprint on the ground.
And honestly, I've been thinking about it this whole time about different things that Jason has been saying, and how about we can change that 1% into at least 1.5%, you know?
That would be nice. That would be nice because I watched this episode once about clothes donation. Where do your clothes donations go? And so one of the things that struck me so odd was it was for the Hurricane Katrina. Is that the Hurricane Katrina? They were telling people to send clothes because a lot of people lost everything that they had down there. And so they did this huge thing on 60 Minutes about the clothes that were donated and how over 80% of the clothes donated were unusable because it was in New Orleans and all the clothes that were donated were big jackets and snow outfits and stuff like that.
Yeah.
None of those people needed any of those, and then they couldn't send it back, so it ended up getting
Just getting
because
wasted.
I mean, if you're in New Orleans and it's 100 degrees outside with 100% humidity, who's going to wear a jacket?
Who's going to wear a coat, right?
Right. So we have to be more conscious on how we donate,
Yes.
where we donate, and what we donate. Just because we can't use it does not mean the person you're giving it to can.
And honestly, if one of our viewers is still watching, all three of us were actually having a discussion about it earlier today. And how about like food banks and local pantries that accept donations?
We have visitors.
It's David.
Watch. Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm like, ooh,
We have a live
people
visitor.
watching.
And we all talked about how people are taking things that are way past their best by date or things that are completely unusable, and people are dropping them off at places, and I don't even want to consider Goodwill or Salvation Army into that roster because they're like big, I would consider them big box stores now. But like small mom and pop places who do take donations, people are getting trash, you know what I'm saying? Like, just back to how you said, just because you can't use it doesn't mean that the person next to you can use it, you know what I'm saying? If you don't want to take forth the effort into fixing it or to making it unsoiled, how can they do the same thing?
And that doesn't mean that somebody out there doesn't want it. It just
Exactly.
means that your first go-to isn't. Just because your first go-to, and what's going to happen is that person's going to take that item because they feel bad, they don't want you to throw it away. Then they end up having to throw it away, which makes them feel even worse.
Or it's like, for example, like food pantries are getting like canned food, and like, yes, I totally understand that the best by date is not the same as an expiration date, but if the best by date is almost a year after, people still can't eat that. You know what I'm saying?
No. Well, think about when you donate something or when you want to give to something, think about how you would want to receive it.
For sure.
That's what you mean. If you lived in New Orleans, would you want this big, heavy jacket?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And that thought that, well, if they did it, then they can just send it to this place. Well, that costs money.
Exactly.
So another thing, oh my gosh, now glass is biodegradable, but we don't want to fill the world full of broken glass, and there's a lot of it out there. So what is one way, if you break a nice, colorful vase, that you can reuse it, the broken pieces? What? Oh,
No,
that's
I was thinking about your question.
So this is a really cool use of broken glass.
Sure
And
is.
this was big in the 70s. This is crushed glass votive candles. And what you can see, and you can make these easily at home too. There is a glass inside here and the glass out here. Then they took all the broken glass and they made colors, or you can just have mixed colors. We've had them with or mixed.
And I love those ones.
Yeah, and when you burn the candle inside of it, guess what happens? You get a explosion of color. So by using something like this, and you do not have to be crafty, because I can hear half of you going, I'm not a crafty person, or I don't have time.
And that's okay.
Well, that's fine, because there will come a time when you do have time. And so maybe you have a bucket full of glass if you have a lot of broken glass somewhere.
Yeah.
But
got a bag and a hammer.
how simple is that? Because my next thing I'm going to show you is what do you do with all those candles? Because the wax may be biodegradable, but the wick inside probably is not. And the metal that's underneath is not. And 9 times out of 10, you are they're burned down or whatever, and it's usually inside of a container, and you're going to throw that container out with it.
Fun fact, if you ever are in a vintage store and you buy a votive candle that already, like, for example, has like a decorative crushed glass like how Jason has, and let's just say you buy that and there's already a candle in it and you do plan on burning it, leave about this much wax or however much it does not or cannot burn. Fill it with a little bit of water and then put it in the freezer for 15 minutes.
And then you pop it out.
It releases the wax, and then you'll be able to reuse your votive candle with the DIY trick that Jason is about to tell you.
And I'm going to tell you because water, wax is actually lighter than water, so water will go underneath the wax and push it up. So it's kind of like oil and water. You know how oil is heavier, or oil just is lighter, so it floats on top. So candles. We have a ton of these candles around everywhere, right? Everywhere. Broken candles. How many times have you put a candle into something and you break it?
All the time for me.
I had a broken one in here, but I don't know where it went. Anyways, a little broken one, right? So, and you break it and you're like, oh crap, and you throw it out because you can't use it anymore. Save them. Save them, because all it takes, you guys, seriously, all it takes, especially with taper candles, is you take one of your old pans that you don't want anymore. You take one of your old pans that you don't want anymore, just put them all in it and boil it, right?
Yep.
Or turn it on and let it melt down to wax. Then you take old vintage ashtrays, something like this, and this is an ashtray, you guys, this is an ashtray, it's right here, you can see, right? You take old vintage ashtrays like this one, or even a flat one like this, and you take that wax, and what you can easily do for a wick is you take the wick that you had, and you put it in here, and you do 2 cross sticks to hold the wick up, and then you pour it in so that it's right below, even if it's thin. Sit it on your table once it hardens.
It would be so cute as a candle, honestly.
And you do want to make sure that when you do this, that you are using a container that can handle the heat for the water, or heat for the wax, and the container that you pour the hot wax into can handle the
also
heat.
withstand it.
So you want a thicker glass, you want a thicker material.
100%.
But look at this thing. So this is an ashtray, probably from the 1970s, 80s. It has a beautiful flower etched into it.
I'm just obsessed with the shape, the color.
Right, because it looks unique for being an ashtray. So you fill it right here, and you do like maybe an off-white candle to match the rose. And then you can take some essential oils, maybe rose scented.
That'd be nice.
And you put it in with the candles, because you could do this at home. It takes 2 seconds.
Yeah.
You cross it when it's wet, you put the wick inside of it, and boom, you have a candle.
That turns
no
into
wicks
an
going in the
ashtray.
trash. You're not throwing out any candles that are completely usable. It's just crazy what you can do.
And then after, you can still reuse it.
Yeah, and then you have the container. And how many of us have those vases at home? Seriously, those vases, those clear vases.
Lots of them.
You could do candles in those. You could do all sorts of stuff. Why do I have this?
Because it's beautiful.
Because this is a bunch of leftovers that was made into a beautiful thing. Now, I'm going to tell you we bought this. I did do a little help to it. But when we bought it, it was this, her, the shell, and then some shells and pearls around it, right? And so somebody made this using shells, pearl, and stuff like that. This little woman, instead of throwing her away, this is a little fish, one of those little fish that would float inside the fish tank with a little glass bobber on top. So these are all things that could be tossed, right? Well, it created this cute little thing for a great tiki bar or a great, anything really. They're just cute. Isn't that cute? I added the new pearls to it, but that was a pearl necklace that broke. So instead of throwing the plastic pearls away, I put them in there.
Love it.
So we're minimizing our footprint on the earth. So I have a big box here too. I wonder what's in there.
Ooh.
So I have a big box, and I just wanted to show you some of this because this goes far beyond what I'm showing you. You could do this with lamps. You could turn vases into lamps. You could turn, think outside of the box, you guys. So,
what could it be?
What could be in here? So, remember I was talking to you guys about clothes, right? And I was talking to you about, okay, so what if the clothing, I'm going to set that down there for a minute. What if the clothing item is too damaged to resell? What if the clothing item is too damaged to give away for somebody to use, something like that? You don't really want to toss it because it's got non-biodegradable items in it. And I'm going to tell you a lot of the synthetic materials that, yes, vintage clothes has synthetic materials in it, don't biodegrade. So if you have polyester, do you think polyester biodegrades? No. And it doesn't breathe either. It's ridiculous. So we have dresses like this that have damage on the back. The whole zipper's ripped out. Everything is ripped out of the lining. Stuff like that. So fixing this would be not cost effective for resale. It might be cost effective for the person who wants to wear it. So what we do, or what we're starting in 2024, is we are going to have bag sales. And these are for vintage clothing that unfortunately cannot be repaired. Now that has some damage to it.
I'm obsessed.
First of all,
with
this was supposed to be white.
Really?
Yeah. It looks cute, this color, but there are some severe rips in it and stuff.
It's so cute.
And the material is very old, so it's starting to rip. But somebody could use this, the material, to make a shirt. Or headbands. We had a customer in here, and I got to tell you, a shout out to her. One of these days she'll be here again, and I'll have to rope her into one of the shows. That's what she does. She goes around and she buys skirts, or she buys, the circle skirts, stuff like that.
Oh my gosh, I remember this.
Yeah, I mean, these clothing, this would be great for, this would be great for pillows, for all sorts of stuff. A nice shirt. Anyway, she would buy vintage circle skirts with great patterns on them. And she is a master sewer, so she would just make herself some vintage style shirts out of that material.
Oh my God, we love that.
And this is what we need to do these days. I gotta tell this story. I had a gentleman in here. He was an African American gentleman. Mm-hmm. Probably, I want to say maybe 70.
Wow.
60s, late 60s. And he was, he worked for the credit card company. And he was selling me something, right? Mm-hmm. So we're in the back room and we're talking. Because he's going over what he's selling and stuff. And I said, that's a pretty sharp suit you have on. And, because I noticed, you know what I mean? I said, and I really liked his shirt. And he goes, oh, thank you, I made it. And I said, what? And he goes, I made it. And I said, you made it? You made the shirt? And he goes, yeah, I made the shirt, the pants, and the vest. And I said, I'm impressed that you know how to do that. And he goes, let me tell you. He said, my mother had one rule before we all left the house. We had to know how to make the clothes on our back because there was no guarantee that you'd be able to buy something to put on your back.
Period.
So she would not let her children leave the house, both male and female, leave the house until they could clothe themselves.
If I knew how to do that, no one could tell me nothing.
When you had the 70-year-old man sitting there telling you, I made the shirt,
I'd say,
my jaw was on the ground.
I want a shirt,
We need to bring these back because 100%. There's no guarantee that we will be able to, especially with the way the world's going and the way everything is online.
Home ec. We need it back. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm 24. When I lived in Florida for a short period amount of time, we actually did have home ec. And when I had to leave and come back to Michigan, I cried because I was like, this is it. I'm not going to know how to do anything. Mm-hmm. My parents are like 60. The way that they learned how to do things are completely different now. Who's going to touch base with me on back that?
Right. So, this was our first show back in 2 weeks.
Happy 2024, everybody.
So, starting this year, we will be doing bags, bag sales, meaning that We will have items in bags, and you have to buy the bag.
This is new information to me, so I
Yep.
cannot relay information.
Yep, and this is new to her, new to everybody. Steve and I talked about this several times throughout last year. I'm sorry, I'm blind without these. I need my glasses. So in the next couple of weeks, we'll have our first set out. They will be blind bags, so that means you get what you get.
Oh, those are the best.
Okay, and so, but there'll be some cool stuff in each, and they won't be expensive, but it's new this year. So we have some great things coming, and I say that all the time, but I'm being 100% serious right here. Our show is about to skyrocket. We are, and not until March 2nd is our first major show.
Ooh.
And we will, I will release that information to you soon, but I am going to tell you we are going to have Jasmine walking the red carpet.
It's going to be amazing.
We are going to have myself and Brooke Allen.
And a bunch of other friendly faces that you guys know and love.
Yep. And we are going to be doing a live show from somewhere fantastic with our whole new production team.
You got to be
and
there,
I'm totally
be
excited
square.
about it. And, you know, so there's a lot of fun things coming. Isn't there?
And you're just going to have to be there with us to watch it.
So what are your goals for 2000? Do you have any?
I do have some goals.
Any you want to talk about? I know this is last minute.
Set boundaries for yourself and stick to them. Stand on the business, people. If you have something that you used to beat yourself up about in 2023, whether that be to get up at the same time every day, or go to bed earlier at a certain time, or make sure that you talk to your grandmother once a week, or whatever that be, stick on it and stand to the business, because the only thing that's stopping you between you and your goal is yourself.
That's a good one. I love that. So I do goals. I do short-term and long-term goals. I cannot live my life without those. And those of you who know me know that I'm pretty regiment on them. My short goals would be for the year. My long-term would be based on the short goals, if I succeed or not. And last year we accomplished quite a bit of them. So this year, mine is to take Time Warp into whole new categories of the world, all pertaining to vintage, all pertaining to antiques. But Time Warp is past, present, and future, like we always say. So because Time Warp, you get warped into time, you don't know where you're going.
Literally.
And so, but I also want to give a shout out to everybody who helped us this year. Steve and I both got very sick. So did she. We all got very sick during Christmas. I was out Christmas week. Steve was out the week after Christmas. You were out the week before Christmas week. Jason was out after Christmas. Thank you for everything, and Jason and all our staff for helping. And then to the customers.
Yeah.
As a business owner, as somebody who puts their blood, sweat, and tears into everything we do every day, I cannot thank you. I know Steve cannot thank you enough for all the support this past year.
And all my regulars that literally I see once a week, I love seeing you guys, so you have to still come and make it a regular trip every time you're in the area.
We're not going anywhere, and we're only going to get bigger. So anyways, give us a spiel.
Thanks for coming back for our first Time Warp Tuesday of 2024. We have so many cool things that are going to be happening this year. So again, I know you heard me say it 10 seconds ago, but be there or be square, and you're going to miss all of the fun things. We still post all of our newest, coolest stuff on Facebook and Instagram every day. Since the holidays are over and the hustle and bustle is gone, we're going to be flooding the store with much more new things. So if something is tickling your brain a little bit and you didn't get it during the holidays, just make sure you check us out again this coming week and now and forever.
Yeah.
Follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Yep. This will be up right after we end, and it'll be on YouTube in the morning.
And remember, we are going into the season of indoor. So take a look around. What do you need?
Yeah.
Come on in. We've got it for you. Also, Monday mornings, 10 o'clock, Caffeinated Conversations.
With Brooke Allen.
With Brooke Allen. We still are on the back end of that. We still are sponsors. We are going to be a sponsor for them forever.
Yep.
Brooke and I will be doing a lot together this year.
They're besties for the resties.
Anyways, I'm excited.
So happy to see you guys and can't wait to see you next week.
Bye, you guys.